Water content, also called moisture content, which is the quantity of water contained in a material. There are many different methods can be used to determine moisture content. In this video, we will learn how to determine moisture content of different biomaterials using a dry oven method. To determine moisture content, we need to prepare a small scale, drying oven, sample container, knife, label tape, and so on to perform the test in this lab. After everything is ready, the first step of the test is to label each container with a unique code for each sample, so that we don't mess up different samples during the test. The second step is to weigh each container, and then record all the data in a preparing data sheet. The third step is to prepare testing samples. We are going to measure the moisture content of 3 different biomaterials: character, corn, and soybean in this test. The characters are too big. We need to cut them into small pieces. But corn and soybean can be directly measured in their original size. About 5 grams of each sample will be put into a container. Each material will be tested in 3 replications. After all samples are put into containers, the fourth step is to weigh each container with the sample to get the total weight of sample and container, and record all the data. After weighing, the fifth step is to place all containers into the drying oven, which was preheated at a temperature of 105 Celsius degrees, and then continually drying the sample at this temperature for 24 hours. Depending on the type of biomaterial, the drying time may be longer or shorter. In case, after 24 hours, the sixth step is to turn off the oven, cool down the samples. After all samples are cooled down, the seventh step is to take all the dried containers with samples out of the oven. And then weigh each container with sample to get the total weight of container and dry samples. Record all the data. The eighth step is to calculate the moisture content of the sample. There are 2 different concepts of moisture content. One is wet-based moisture content, which is the percentage of the weight of water to the total weight of the sample. Another is the dry-based moisture content, which is the percentage of the weight of water to the weight of dry matter in the sample. Both of these 2 moisture content can be calculated by using this equation and the data we just measured. An example of the recording data in this test is shown in the up table. We can easily calculate the weight of original sample, the weight of water contained in the samples, and the dry matter of the samples by using the Excel form. We can also calculate the average and the standard deviation of moisture content for each biomaterial, which are shown in the row table. The final step of this test is to write a lab report. A template of lab report is shown here. The report must consist of these 9 basic components. The grading percentage of the lab will also based on this template. For your reference, an example of lab report is also provided in this video. This is the cover page of a lab report, which provides the information of what topic, who, when, and where to perform the lab. The abstract provides a clear, concise, and complete summary of the lab, including the purpose, method, result, and major conclusion with less than 250 words. The introduction section briefly answers the question of what problem, why doing this lab, what is the purpose of the lab. The objectives outline what activity and task will be accomplished in the lab. The section of material and method will explain what tools and material need for performing the lab, how the lab will be carried out step by step, and provide all calculation equations needed to conduct the data analysis. The section of result and discussion will describe the resulting data and observation using table, figure, or graph, and explain how and why getting this result. May also compare the result with the literature data, and so on. The conclusion will summarize the major findings of the lab and provide suggestions or plan for others. All references must be listed out for all the citations in the lab report. Attach all the original data records, calculations, or other necessary information in the appendix in the lab report.